Part 12. Fantasy, I Robbed Millions of Saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 114. Saint Qiantian, she is actually here. What happened? After she entered, she was nowhere to be seen. How could she suddenly appear inside this Linglong immortal mansion? I do not know. But I vaguely feel that there is something special about that Qiantian saint. And, since she appeared here, she must have gotten an opportunity, maybe a big one. In the outside world, everyone was in chaos after hearing the voices of Qin Changsheng and Saint Qiantian. Saint Qiantian went in very early. But after entering, there was no sign of anyone. Until now, she suddenly it appeared, beyond everyone's expectation. Just when everyone was talking about it, the entire crystal portal of Linglong Immortal Mansion suddenly flickered. The figures of Qin Changsheng and Saint Qiantian appeared from inside flew out. They're out. Why are there only two people, Qin Changsheng and that Qiantian saint? What about the rest? This boy's good days are coming to an end. The sect masters of the major sects' holy places have already stood in various directions. Then, what is Saint Qiantian doing? She actually took over the Linglong Immortal Mansion. Everyone's eyes almost popped out. After Qin Changsheng and the Qiantian Saint Nalan Yoruo flew out of the crystal portal. Nalan Yoruo actually reached out and made a move, and the entire Linglong Immortal Mansion was transformed. A crystal pendant appeared in her hand. Seeing this scene, Qin Changsheng was stunned, let alone others. Not only did you get a copy of the Linglong Immortal Demon Dao lineage, but you also got the entire Linglong Immortal Mansion. Qin Changsheng asked. Everyone was already shocked and at a loss. When they heard what Qin Changsheng said, they were even more shocked. They originally thought that Qin Changsheng was the only winner, but they didn't. Thinking of, this Saint Qiantian who has never shown up has actually obtained a Taoist inheritance, and even controlled the entire Linglong Immortal Mansion. Doesn't it mean that the spiritual veins, spiritual pools inside, and various courtyards that have not been entered later? Countless treasures have come into her hands. Even, the saints that Qin Changsheng plundered are now trapped inside and have not come out. I don't know what happened. As soon as I entered, I was directly transported to the world in the scroll. Mr. Changsheng, I can see every move you make in that world. For this reason, when Mr. Changsheng approached the landscape painting, the little girl was almost frightened to death. Fortunately, there is only one inheritor of Linglong Immortal Mansion. The little girl is first come, first served, so I would be disrespectful. I also hope, Mr. Changsheng can let my little sister go. Those saints you snatched will be released when they are safe. While Nalan Yoruo was speaking, she had already spread her body skills and stepped back. She had seen Qin Changsheng's methods, so she was very defensive. And when she was speaking, she also showed off the weapon in her hand. Crystal pendant. The meaning is obvious. Those saints you grabbed are all in my hands. First come first served. But what I know is, it doesn't matter who gets it first, what matters is whose hands it will end up in. Qin Changsheng was not in a hurry and said with a chuckle. He was also worried about saying that this Linglong Immortal Mansion is a good thing, but he doesn't know if it can be controlled. Now that Qiantian Saint is in control. What Qin Changsheng has to do it's simple, that is to control her. You control the Immortal Mansion, I control you. Be the master of the Linglong Immortal Mansion. Don't panic, Yoruo, this Holy Lord is here, he can't do anything to you. But for the sake of safety, please give me the Linglong Immortal Mansion in your hand for safekeeping first. At this time, Holy Lord Qingyun suddenly came to his senses and shouted to Nalan Yoruo. When everyone heard this, they all cursed the old fox in their hearts. It's obvious that he just wants Linglong Immortal Mansion, yet he says it so grandly. Holy Lord, this Linglong Immortal Mansion is quite safe in my hands, and only I can borrow the power inside. You old man, you should find a way to avenge the Holy Sun first. He was slapped into a pulp by young Master Chang Sheng, but he died miserably. Nalan Yoruo did not listen to the words of Holy Lord Xiantian, and the direction in which she was flying was to avoid the direction of Holy Lord Xiantian, and her meaning was obvious. She was not prepared to hand over Linglong Immortal Mansion. In this world, this is actually understandable. Whether it's treasures from heaven, materials, earth, or various opportunities, they are only for those who are destined to get them. It's your ability to grab them. You gave them up. I guess other than Qin Chang Sheng, no one else would be so generous. Seeing Nalan Yoruo's actions, Holy Lord Suanation's eyes flashed with a stern light. However, he was quickly suppressed. It was naturally impossible for him to break up with Nalan Yoruo directly, and putting something in her hands was a good excuse. Otherwise, how could Xiantian Holy Land be monopolized? For the current plan, we need to deal with Qin Changsheng first before we get down to business. Thinking of this, Holy Lord Xiantian glared at Qin Changsheng with a pair of angry eyes. You little bastard, you dare to kill my son, I will definitely draw your blood, peel off your skin, and remove your bones and tendons. I, King Yun Holy Land, will clean up the door today and kill you, you evil beast. And my Sunday Holy Land. Qin Changsheng, you must die today. And my bloodthirsty demon section. Boy, please give me my son's life. You looted my Loxia Holy Land, killed my beloved son Fei Yang, and robbed my Loxia Saint Yesuxin. Qin Changsheng, you will definitely die without a burial place today. I, Lingyun Holy Land, will kill you. Under the leadership of Holy Master Xiantian, the hatred points of all the sect masters of the major sects were fully filled. Then, pillars of true energy shot up into the sky. Everyone had taken out their weapons and magic weapons, aiming directly at Qin Changsheng. As for the melon eaters below, they all hid in the farthest corner of the outer city for fear of being affected. The sect masters of more than a dozen sects' holy lands took action at the same time. This is simply an unprecedented event in the Gilded Realm. When everyone sees it, that guy named Qin Changsheng must be doomed. Not to mention others. He is just a Holy Lord Xiantian, and his cultivation level is the third level of Qi realm. There are also 5 or 6 other Qinghai realm experts from the second level of heaven. This guy is just a second level Qi and Si realm, how can he bear it? What everyone is looking forward to even more is, how the treasures in his body will be divided after this kid dies. How are we going to divide the treasures of Saint Xiantian? The major sects in the entire gilded domain won't just start a melee. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 115. So many people want to kill me. Qin Changsheng stood in the air, looking at the group of angry sect masters and holy masters around him, and chuckled. Everyone was speechless for a while. You are on the verge of death, and you can still laugh. You have killed all the saints of this family. They have been destroyed and the saints have been robbed. Who can I kill if I don't want to kill you? Besides, even if this incident hadn't happened, they wouldn't let you go if you have so many good things. Stop talking nonsense, die, you little bastard. The leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect was the first to jump out. Although he never said anything cruel, he was one of the most angry people. Because the saint of the bloodthirsty demon sect was the first to be robbed. Yes, the Holy Sun was also the first to be killed. The most important thing is, the other saints were robbed, and they were still struggling. The bloodthirsty Saint Teresa, was almost bewitched by this guy, sincerely surrendered to him. The bloodthirsty demon sect master felt the burning pain on his face. As he spoke, the bloodthirsty demon sect master had already slashed Qin Changsheng with the magic sword in his hand, and a red sword light seemed to fall from the sky. Roll. Qin Changsheng didn't even look here, he just said one word. When Qin Changsheng first spoke, everyone was confused. A fight is a fight, why are you still swearing? Although it is normal to scold before a fight, but the scolding has just ended and they have already taken action. Why are you still scolding? But the next moment, everyone was stunned. I saw a huge ancient scroll character actually flying out of Qin Changshen's mouth. And it swelled in the wind, getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, everyone saw that the rolling characters were covered with thunder, and there were even lines of Dao lines flowing. Roll. 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 Qin Changshen's voice continued to echo in this world, becoming clearer and more shocking. In the end, it actually sounded like the mysterious voice of heaven. Boom! The blood-red Pylian sword light collided with the huge rolling characters. The sword light shattered directly. The word roll is still unabated, remember to hit the leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect fiercely. No. Impossible. The leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect was filled with horror and disbelief when he saw that his sword light was suppressed by someone saying a single word. What's even more incredible is, he found that he couldn't resist under the pressure of the rolling character. He could only watch helplessly as the big character covered with Dao patterns bombarded his body. Boom! The leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect shattered into a rain of blood, which fell one after another. Everyone was stupid at this moment. How is it possible? The majestic leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect, a strong man in the Qi realm. He was killed after that guy said one word. I couldn't believe my eyes either. Is this guy really the second level of the Qi realm? Even the leader of the Xiantian sect at the third level of the Qi realm cannot kill the leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect so easily. I suddenly thought of the previous message. This guy uttered 3 words of mantra and destroyed the beast-controlling demon sect. At that time, I thought it was an exaggeration, but now this scene makes me believe it. The expressions of a group of melon eaters hiding in the corner couldn't be more shocking. In their view, Qin Changshen was bound to die. Who would have thought, the first one to die would be the leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect? And she was scolded to death with just one word. In another corner of the outer city, Xiantian Saint Nalan Yoruo also stopped and was watching the battle. She actually wanted to run away, but however, she found that the entire outer city of the Gilded Imperial City was blocked by a protective barrier, making it impossible for her to run away even if she wanted to. This originally made her panic. Now seeing Qin Changshen's power, she even more panicked. How is this possible? There is something wrong with this kid. Yes, everyone must not take it lightly and follow in the footsteps of the bloodthirsty Lord. Holy Master Qingyun and Holy Master Loxia are the closest to the leader of the bloodthirsty demon sect, and they are also the most shocking. After seeing this scene, they both spoke. At the same time. Buzz, buzz. A dense light flashed around the two of them at the same time, and they actually held up the domain barrier. When the other sect masters saw this, they did not dare to neglect, and also activated their own domain barriers. However, no one's domain barrier could escape the scope of the Gilded Imperial City. Moreover, everyone was standing around Qin Changshen, so the scene after the barrier was propped up was also very strange. Everyone's domain boundaries are like big bubbles connected end to end, with different colors. And the place where all the big bubbles meet in the center happens to be Qin Changshen. In other words, under their deliberate control, everyone's domain barrier partially enveloped Qin Changshen, allowing everyone to have an attack bonus against Qin Changshen. If you want to fight, fight. What are you doing with all these fancy things? You caught my eye. Qin Changshen's voice sounded in the air. Everyone is ashamed. This is the domain barrier of a strong person in the Qi realm. Why is it just a flashy thing? But the next moment, everyone was even more dumbfounded. Buzz. There was a wave of fluctuations in the sky and the earth. Around Qin Changshen, a red gold domain barrier rose into the sky. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. With the sound of shattering, the domain barriers of the dozen or so sect masters were directly crushed by Qin Changshen's domain barriers. In the end, there was only this red gold domain barrier left between heaven and earth, wrapping everyone in it. How is it possible? His domain enchantment alone crushed the domain enchantments of more than a dozen sect masters and holy masters. Holy Lord Suanation's cultivation is at the third level of Qi realm. How could he be squeezed out by his domain barrier? Did he break through again inside? Is it also the third level of Qi realm? No, even if he is the third heaven of the Qi realm, or even the fourth heaven, or the fifth heaven, he can narrow down the scope of other people's domain enchantment. Directly broken, what kind of gap is this? Why do I have a, not so good premonition? The outcome of this war, may be different from what we imagined. In the corner, everyone in the audience was trembling under the pressure of Qin Changshen's domain barrier. But the confusion and shock in their hearts was the source of their greater fear. I thought Qin Changshen, under the siege of so many strong men, death is inevitable. Why now, seems to be the other way around. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 116. Puff. 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 As the domain barrier was forcibly squeezed through, several sect leaders with low cultivation levels were so shocked that they spit out a mouthful of blood. Among them is Holy Lord King Yun. The expression on his face now is as if he has seen a ghost. Although he has been listening to people say that this Qin Changshen is very powerful and defiant. But the first sincere feeling made him really unable to accept it. This kid was originally a little guy from Qinfan's lineage in Qingyun Holy Land. Not to mention that he didn't like him at the beginning, even the Lord of the Peak looks down upon him. But it happened that this little guy actually used the domain barrier to crush him. This is impossible. How could the barrier of my domain be broken? What kind of cultivation level do you have? There is something wrong with this kid, there is definitely something wrong. One by one, the sect masters and holy masters saw that their domain barriers were squeezed out and fell into Qin Changshen's domain barriers. They couldn't believe it and didn't want to believe it. But Qin Changshen didn't even think about it. Take this seriously. He lifted his robe, Gukun appeared in front of him, and sat cross-legged in mid-air. Originally, you people are not worthy of listening to me play a song. But since Holy Lord King Yun is here, I will seek some justice for our old man at Qinfan, and let you know, what kind of existence the Qinfan lineage is. Qin Changshen glanced at Holy Master King Yun coldly and said lightly. Everyone was inevitably shocked when they heard this. This guy is not only a ruthless person, but also a madman. So many sect leaders and holy masters are here. In his eyes, he was not worthy of being allowed to play the piano. But before he could think about it, Qin Changshen's fingers had already plucked the strings. Ding, ding, dong, dong. The sound of the piano, like mountains and flowing water, echoed throughout the gilded imperial city. With the appearance of this piano sound, the whole world seems to have entered a beautiful artistic conception. There are mountains, and there are waterfalls pouring down like 9-day horses. There are cranes flying together, and colorful clouds filling the sky. Even the thunder above the 9 heavens seems to be attracted by the sound of the piano, it crackles and blends with the beat of the piano sound. Puff puff. Holy Lord King Yun vomited blood one after another. Everyone else was confused. This piano sound has no lethality at all. How come, Holy Lord King Yun vomits blood so miserably? With the great power, you can do whatever you want, this is impossible. How could you possibly do this? Holy Lord Xiantian said with a horrified look on his face. When everyone heard what he said, they suddenly realized. It's not that the sound of the piano is not lethal at all, and the man who plays the piano, Qin Changsheng, has extremely control over the avenue of heaven and earth. He is so skilled that he can make his piano sound attack only specific people. Obviously, the first target he attacks is Holy Lord King Yun. Puff. The Qinfen lineage, the inheritance has been cut off long ago. You, who are you? Holy Lord King Yun vomited another mouthful of blood and roared. He was very desperate in his heart now. Because under Qin Changshen's piano music, he had no power to resist at all, even under the shock of the rhythm of the piano music. He couldn't even mobilize his true energy. It felt like you were tied up somewhere and allowed to be beaten by others. It's as frustrating as you want. Just cut it off if you say it's cut off. What do you think you are? Qin Changsheng said with a chuckle. The sound of the piano in his hand did not stop. He was not planning to directly kill Holy Lord King Yun. He wanted to make Holy Lord King Yun vomit blood and die. Because in the past 2 years, he watched little by little, the old man who vomited blood every day, and made all kinds of efforts to preserve the Qinfen lineage, gradually declined. At that time, Qin Changsheng could not do anything for the old man. Now, King Yunsheng can only let King Yunsheng Lord, enjoy little by little the feeling of powerlessness the old man had back then. Puff puff. Holy Lord King Yun vomited an unknown amount of blood. His complexion has turned sallow, like a piece of gold paper. Let's all go together, we can't let him defeat each one. Yes, his piano sound is famous and magical, but his attack power shouldn't be enough to deal with everyone. Holy Master Loxia and Holy Master Zhou suddenly spoke at the same time. They had an inexplicable sense of crisis and could not let Qin Changsheng kill Holy Lord King Yun like this. Otherwise, they might be next. Okay, everyone come together. Don't hold back, there's something wrong with this kid. The other sect leaders and holy masters all agreed. Suddenly, all kinds of physiques, all kinds of bloodline powers, were inspired by them. The entire outer city of the Gilded Imperial City was filled with overwhelming momentum and pressure. It wreaked havoc, scaring the melon-eating people in the corner out of their wits. It seemed that the entire Imperial City wall seemed to be blessed by a barrier at this time, but it did not let them be affected. But they wanted to run, but they also had to fight with Xiantian like a saint. She can't escape. Defeat each one? Are you worthy of letting me defeat each of you? Qin Changshen's somewhat scornful voice came. The next moment, the sound of the piano gradually changed. The beautiful scenery of mountains and clear waters, and the harmonious singing of Luan and Phoenix seemed to have withered away in an instant. The world gradually became dark. There was obviously no wind, but everyone had it felt like being penetrated by the biting cold wind. Then, demonic shadows of steaming demonic energy appeared from the sky. On the bodies of these demonic figures, there were shackles covered with Dao lines. Roar. The shackles broke as the demonic sound trembled. Dozens of demonic shadows wildly bombarded the dozen or so sect masters. Boom. 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 Explosions came one after another. The eyes of the people eating melons below almost popped out of their heads. They saw a scene they had never imagined in their lives. Those sect masters and saints who shocked the Gilded Realm, the Qi realm powerhouses, were actually vulnerable to the shadows of those illusory musical sounds. I don't know how many people's physiques and bloodline powers were directly scattered. There were even several sect leaders and holy masters who were directly killed by that illusory demonic figure. With so many Qi realm powerhouses joining forces, none of them are that ruthless one, the enemy of Yi. This crazy idea flashed through everyone's mind. They don't want to believe it, and they can't believe it. But the scenes before them clearly told them, this is the fact. The ruthless man didn't even move. He just sat cross-legged in the air and plucked the strings. These dozen sect leaders and holy masters have been completely defeated. A dozen people from the Qi realm gang beat up that ruthless Qin Changsheng? No. This is the ruthless man who beat up a dozen Qi realm powerhouses in a group. The third update, please customize and order in full. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 117. The sect masters of the major sects' holy places couldn't defeat that ruthless man even if they joined forces. This is impossible. Isn't that ruthless man a cultivation base in the second level of Qi realm? Qi realm 2 heavens. Absolutely impossible, to be able to fight against so many powerful people in the Qi realm, he must be at least above the 6th level of the Qi realm. But when he entered before, he had just tested the 2 heavens of the Qi realm. In the corner of the outer city, a group of melon-eating people were very confused now. They could clearly see Qin Changshen's cultivation level not long ago. The 19-year-old Qi realm dual heaven, when they saw it at that time, he is already a monster. Who would have thought? The combat power displayed by Qin Changshen now is even more monster than they imagined. And the Saint Qiantian who was hiding aside had a beautiful face at this time, full of disbelief and surprise. In the landscape painting of Linglong Immortal Mansion, she controlled the core of the entire Linglong Immortal Mansion, so she could feel that Qin Changsheng seemed to be very powerful, and getting stronger. At that time, she was still said, has this guy advanced to the 3rd level of Qi realm? Now she realized that she seemed to be wrong, very wrong. Every time this guy's aura became stronger, he probably advanced, as many as 6 or 7 times. Doesn't it mean that, this guy is already at the 8th or even 9th level of the Qi realm? How did he do it? Young Master Changshen, spare your life. I surrender. I have also given up. From now on, Zhou Holy Land, will never dare to cause trouble to young Master Changshen again. My Wuxan demon sect is also, the previous things have been wiped out. Under the attack of the demonic shadows, the sect masters of the major sects' holy places were in as much trouble as they wanted. While resisting and dodging in various ways, they directly begged for mercy. This made everyone feel like they were in a dream. Playing the piano and fighting with more than a dozen Qi realms with a wave of his hand, that ruthless man looked extremely relaxed, but these sect masters of the Qi realm wanted to live and die. Don't you want to cause trouble for me? Then have you ever asked, will I cause trouble for you? Qin Changshen didn't take everyone's begging for mercy seriously at all. Just kidding, it's you who said he'd be beaten. It's you who said he wouldn't be beaten. You really take yourselves too seriously. Puff. Another sect's holy master was directly hit by the demonic shadow, and his whole body was turned into powder. At this time, there are only 7 or 8 people who are the remaining sect masters. They united together to resist the demonic shadows around them, but they were just struggling to hold on. If Qin Changshen didn't stop, they might not be able to hold on for long. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard Qin Changshen's words. Is this ruthless man planning to destroy the entire sect's holy land in the gilded domain? And just when everyone was in all kinds of chaos, a cyan domain barrier suddenly stood up from the center of the gilded imperial city. Unlike everyone else's realm, this cyan realm barrier is not a simple barrier. On that barrier, there were actually traces of Dao lines carved one by one. Yes, it is the Dao realm of the strong ones in the Unity realm, also called the Dao realm. The Lord of the Gilded Domain has taken action. This ruthless man is so awesome. Even the Lord of the Gilded Domain, who didn't care much about trivial matters, was alarmed. Can you not be alarmed? If the Lord of the Guild Domain does not take action, all major sects' holy lands will be wiped out by him. From now on, there will be no more sex holy lands in the entire guild domain. I just don't know how the Lord of the Gilded Domain will deal with this ruthless man. Of course, it's all done by killing. Otherwise, this is definitely a disaster. Everyone below felt a lot more at ease after seeing the domain barrier with the Deo pattern. And as soon as the domain barrier with the Deo pattern appeared, Qin Changshen's domain barrier disappeared directly. The suppression caused Qin Changshen's domain barrier to not dare to appear in front of the Deo domain barrier. Little guy, are you going to destroy the entire gilded domain for me? A hoarse voice came. Then, in the center of the Deo realm barrier, an old man with gray hair, wearing a black brocade robe and a feather crown appeared. Name, Zhou Kanghai. Physique, acquired Hunyuan hegemony. Realm, the realm of unity, the first level of heaven. Combat skills, mysterious level combat skill Void Lingdu Shen technique, mysterious level combat skill Zhou Tianbagua sword technique, mysterious level combat skill Hunyuan hegemon body armor. In my mind, the attribute data of the Lord of the Gilded Domain appeared. Qin Changshen took a look, and found that the Lord of the Gilded Domain also had a domineering physique. From this, it can be seen that his domineering body is definitely superior to the spiritual body existence. However, the innate sword heart hegemony he obtained was formed innately. And the hegemonic body of the Lord of the Gilded Realm was also inspired by the day after tomorrow. Thank you Lord for saving your life. Thank you Lord. Because Zhou Kanghai's Deo domain appeared, Qin Changshen's domain disappeared, and the sound of the piano was suppressed. Several sect masters finally escaped death, and they all said gratefully to the Lord of the Gilded Domain. Well, you guys should step aside first. He is at least at the 9th level of the Qi realm, and you are no match for him. Zhou Kanghai waved his hand and said to the remaining sect masters. What? He is the 9th level of the Qi realm. Impossible. When he first entered Linglong Immortal Mansion, he clearly showed that he was in the 2nd level of Qi realm. Could it be that he was still able to suppress his cultivation in the test at Linglong Immortal Mansion just now? Cultivation may be able to suppress it, but bone age cannot be changed. 19 years old, in the 9th level of the Qi realm, how did he do it? A group of people, including those sect leaders and holy masters, couldn't believe their ears when they heard the words of the Lord of the Gilded Realm. Let alone the 19-year-old 9th level heaven of Qi realm. It is said that the 59-year-old 9th level heaven of Qi realm in the Eastern Barren Continent, they are extremely rare geniuses. And for those of them who have not yet been able to go to the Eastern Barren Continent, the 9th level of the Qi realm is simply an existence that can only be looked up to. Previously, there were still people who suspected that Qin Changshen's cultivation was due to his great luck, and he was initiated and passed on by a strong man from the 7th or 8th level of the Qi realm who came back from the Eastern Barren Continent. Now, this theory is obviously untenable. He himself is at the 9th level of the Qi realm. What kind of person is needed to teach him such a skill? The Union realm? How can there be such great power in the Union realm? Come to a small place like the Gilded Domain. Suddenly, everyone looked at Qin Changshen with extremely complicated eyes. This is simply a peerless evildoer who should not exist between heaven and earth. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 118. Why, when they attacked me, they didn't see you coming out? Now that I'm hitting them back, you can't sit still. In mid-air, Qin Changshen slowly put away his guqin and sneered at Zhou Kanghai. Everyone heard Qin Changshen talking to the Lord of the Gilded Realm like this. They sighed again. This ruthless man has never been afraid. On the surface, you have always looked calm, even when facing the Lord of the Gilded Realm. Even if you are a peerless evildoer from the 9th level of the Qi realm, you don't have to be so arrogant. After all, you are the one opposite is the realm of unity. Little guy, you can't say that. You were in the Linglong immortal mansion, but you killed all their saint sons and snatched all the saint girls into your hands. How can you blame them for attacking you? Jo. Kanghai said with a smile, looking very fair. Oh. Yeah. You are quite concerned about things here. But, if you really pay attention to the cause and effect, you should know very well what the so-called saints did when they saw me. One by one, they want to kill me and take away my belongings. Are you blind and don't see it? What do you mean? Just because they are the holy sons, I can only surrender and let them kill me and steal my things, but I can't kill them back or steal their saints. As the Lord of the Gilded Realm, your method of trying to distract me is a bit low level. Qin Changsheng said word by word. The eyes of everyone below, almost popped out of their eyes. I don't know how many people's jaws were opened and closed. If we say, before, Qin Changsheng and Gilded Realm when the Lord spoke, his attitude was not respectful enough. This time, it is no longer a matter of respectful attitude. This is a direct attack. Although they also know very well. What Qin Changsheng said is the truth. From then on, in the beginning, when the saints and saints of the Sect's Holy Land entered the Linglong Immortal Mansion on their own initiative or under the instruction of the sect master, they all planned to kill Qin Changsheng and snatch the Xiantian sword and other items. He was thinking about the treasure. And even before he entered, he had already provoked them in every possible way. Qin Changsheng's killing them, was indeed understandable. But, you were too bold and too arrogant to criticize the Lord of the Gilded Domain so wildly. Yeah. Boy, you mean, I favor them. Well, even if they strike first, you don't have to be so ruthless. The Lord of the Gilded Realm, after being violently criticized by Qin Changsheng in front of so many people, his old face couldn't help but blush, and then he said with an increasingly cold expression. Unfeeling? Did I do it ruthlessly? I just killed their saint son, and saved their saint maiden, and gave them all kinds of martial arts, combat skills, and various spiritual stones and elixirs for them to practice. It was just a joke, asking them to be little maids. After coming out, these sect masters and holy masters began to besiege me again, preparing to kill and seize the treasure. Again, can't I resist? Qin Changsheng said without blushing. Everyone couldn't help but curse in their hearts, this guy is so shameless. Did you save him? You obviously robbed someone else's saint and used him as a maid. Okay. But what makes everyone collapse the most is, what this guy said, although you clearly know it is shameless, but you can't refute it. Because what others say is 99% true, give the pill spiritual stones, combat skills, and so on, are indeed true. The Lord of the Gilded Domain, Zhou Kanghai, was also stunned by Qin Changsheng's words and didn't know how to respond. The anger in my heart was about to explode. I came out on my own, thinking of getting rid of this little guy under the banner of eliminating harm for the people. Not only would I be able to get what I wanted, but I would also be able to gain a good reputation. I know that this guy is so eloquent that he has forced himself into an unkind and unjust situation with just a few words. There is also the Xiantian saint who is hiding aside, waiting for an opportunity. At this time, the expression on a beautiful face, it was too complicated to describe in words. She had witnessed everything with her own eyes, she felt that Qin Changsheng was besieged, which was a matter of course, and she could take advantage of the chaos to escape. Who knew that this guy was so powerful in combat? He has such a strong mouth. Not only did he easily crush the sect masters of the major sects' holy places, but he also made the Lord of the Gilded Realm speechless. I couldn't even fight him. But, this is not over yet. Qin Changsheng actually spoke again. Another point, even if those saint sons were killed by me, it would be treated as if they provoked me and took action, and I was just killing innocent people indiscriminately to seize treasures. But, Isn't it human nature to kill people and seize treasures in a secret realm? Instead, in the imperial city of the Guild Realm, I remember that you, the Lord of the Guild Realm, once made a rule that neither the inner city nor the outer city of the imperial city are allowed to make a move. Anyone who makes a move first will be killed without mercy. From beginning to end, I still didn't make the first move. I didn't break your rules, did I? And these people who took action first and broke your rules, not only did you not kill them, but you also protected them. I really don't know, you, the majestic lord of the gilded domain, can you swallow back what you said? Qin Changsheng spoke unhurriedly. This time, everyone was sweating when they heard it. Cruel man, big brother. Do you really not know how to live or die? You were crazy just now after a long fight. I have already explained my problem clearly, but I am still not satisfied. This time, the fight is even more severe. This is a slap in the face of the Lord of the Gilded Domain. Every slap is loud and loud. Boy, you are provoking me, do you know? Zhou Kanghai's face turned livid. He has been in charge of the Gilded Domain for so many years and has always been the supreme being. Unexpectedly, he was scolded by such a little guy today. It made him most aggrieved. The thing is, all the reasons I had come up with to take action were wiped out by this guy. Now that I'm taking action, I'm just using my power to bully others. If I don't take action, I'm admitting it in disguise. This guy is right. And if Linglong Immortal Mansion wants to get it, it will take some trouble. Provocative? Not really. I am a person who has always been reasonable. I am just trying to reason with you. Qin Changsheng waved his hands and said as if nothing was wrong. But the more he behaved like this, the more angry Zhou Kanghai became and about to explode. I'm so angry, you told me you were being reasonable? The fifth update, please customize and order in full. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 119. No matter what, you must give me an explanation today. Zhou Kanghai, the Lord of the Gilded Domain, said while holding back his anger. Okay, what should I not explain? You are just like these guys, you are just jealous when you see the things I got in Linglong Immortal Mansion. Just grab it, I respect you as a man. I want to rob and be a good person, isn't it like the legendary one who wants to build a memorial arch after being a scoundrel? The Lord of the Gilded Realm can hold it back, but Qin Changsheng became impatient and pointed it out. Everyone below, at this moment, felt like they were struck by thunder. You can just rebuke and scold. But you were so direct. Want the leader of the Gilded Realm to take action? You don't want to lead yourself to death if you don't want to live long. Humph, it's full of nonsense. Since you only want to die, then I will grant it to you. They were all hit in the face, and Zhou Kanghai, the Lord of the Gilded Realm, stopped holding it up. He snorted coldly, and saw the real energy around him stirring crazily. The Dao on the entire Dao domain barrier, the pattern also bloomed with rays of light as his true energy agitated, as if the world was dominated by Zhou Kanghai's thoughts. Zhou Tianbagua, kill me! Zhou Kanghai shouted angrily. A huge Tai Chi Bagua pattern appeared in mid-air, with a radius of dozens of miles, covering the entire outer city. In that Tai Chi Bagua pattern, on the Bagua pattern, various hexagrams are constantly flowing, and then turned into sword energy of different colors including gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder. There are hundreds of thousands of them densely packed. Suddenly, everyone felt like they were carrying an edge. Xian level combat skills, this is the legendary Xian level combat skills, Zhou Tianbagua sword technique. It is said that Xian level combat skills can already lead to the mysterious way and lead to the door of all mysteries. Today I am lucky enough to see the Lord of the Gilded Realm perform it. It is really spectacular. That kid who doesn't know how high the sky is, probably doesn't even know how powerful Xian level combat skills are. When I got the Xian level combat skills in Linglong Immortal Mansion, I was still so dismissive. To be able to die under the Lord's mysterious combat skills, this boy is considered lucky. The melon-eating crowd, as well as the Holy Lord sect leaders, were immediately shocked when they saw the Zhou sword technique. Faced with such combat skills, they didn't even resist, not even a trace of dodge. Probably none. However, it's flashy, and it doesn't look very good. It's better not to show it and make it look embarrassing. Qin Changshen's voice sounded in the air. The next moment, in Qin Changshen's hand, the Xian level sword that was directly auctioned appeared. As the true energy stirs up, the first grade Xian level combat skill thunder-inducing sword technique is activated. The Xiantian sword in Qin Changshen's hand turned into a pillar of light rising into the sky, piercing the sky. This beam of light actually broke through the Dao realm barrier of the Lord of the Gilded Realm. Everyone was a little confused for a moment. That was the Dao realm barrier of a strong man in the Unity realm. How could it be broken by a sword energy? However, what made them even more confused was what was still behind, as the light pillar rushed into the clouds. In midair, streaks of purple thunder began to flicker. Click, click, click. The purple thunderbolt as thick as a bucket directly shattered Zhou Kanghai's Dao realm barrier. How can it be? How did this guy do it? He could control the real thunder between heaven and earth. I have seen a strong person in the Qi realm who can condense thunder in the realm. But that's just what's condensed in his own domain, and what this guy directly triggered is the real power of thunder between heaven and earth. What's going on? I don't know how many people had a lot of question marks flashing across their faces, and they couldn't understand what was going on. But at this time, the number of purple thunders in the sky was even greater, turning into tens of thousands. Look! Qin Changshen waved the long sword in his hand. The tens of thousands of purple thunder also turned into thunder dragons, roaring in the direction of Qin Changshen's swing. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder dragons collided with the Zhou pattern. The sky above the entire Gilded Realm Imperial City seemed to explode. Thunder flashed, and elements such as gold, wood, water, fire, earth, and wind circulated freely. As for the thunder elements that Zhou Kanghai had condensed, they were directly absorbed in front of the real Nine Heavens thunder triggered by Qin Changshen. Top grade, Xian level combat skills. And it is in the realm of perfection. How is it possible? No one in the entire Gilded domain has practiced advanced Xian level combat skills. How could you? The voice of Zhou Kanghai, the Lord of the Gilded Realm, came. At this time, his face was full of shock and horror. He himself didn't even have advanced Xian level combat skills, otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to see Qin Changshen. After the others obtained the Xian level skills and combat skills in the Linglong Immortal Mansion, they were so excited that they became greedy. Who would have thought, this guy actually practiced? And he has cultivated to a perfect state. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to truly mobilize the energy of this world. What? This ruthless man also used Xian level combat skills? No. Not the same. Although the Lord used a mysterious combat skill, it was not at the top level. According to what the Lord just said, the skill this guy used was not only at the top level, he had also cultivated it to perfection. The great road into the mysteries, the door to all wonders. Oh my God, this is the real gateway to the mysteries. It is no longer just the power of one's own domain that is cited, but the power of the real world. But what on earth is going on? Didn't he just obtain the Xian level combat skill? How is it possible that he has already cultivated and reached perfection? Then there is only one possibility, he has already practiced Qian level combat skills before. Ah, have you practiced before? And it's even better than the mysterious level combat skills practiced by the Lord of the Gilded Domain. No wonder, in that Linglong immortal mansion, he disdained Qian level combat skills and techniques, and only let others practice them. It turns out, he already had it. How could such a monster appear in our gilded domain? This guy is really going to defy the heavens. Compared to Zhou Kanghai, the lord of the gilded realm, those melon-eating people who have never seen the world are the most shocked. From the fake King Yun Saint Sun at the beginning, to the Qi Si realm double level later, oh my god, and now. Time and time again, they all thought that Qin Changsheng was on the verge of seeking death, and that he would definitely die. But time and time again, Qin Changsheng broke their understanding and upper limit, leaving them to watch helplessly. A heaven-defying monster, rising crazily. The sixth update, please customize and order in full. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 120. Xiantian Saint Nalan Yoruo, who was hiding in the corner, looked at the figure standing opposite the Lord of the Gilded Realm in mid-air. The expression on that beautiful face was frozen. Just when the Lord of the Gilded Realm came forward, she felt bad. She would definitely hand over her Linglong immortal mansion. After all, the Lord of the Guilt Domain is synonymous with invincibility in the entire Guilt Domain. Who would have thought that, this guy named Qin Changsheng actually fought against the Lord of the Guilt Domain, and seemed to have the upper hand? This made her feel extremely uneasy. Also uneasy, are the many saints in Linglong Immortal Mansion. Just now when the major sect masters and holy masters besieged Qin Changsheng, Nalan Yoruo closed the interior of Linglong Immortal Mansion, blocking the view outside, so they can now see the situation outside. Nalan Yoruo's original intention was to let these saints see how Qin Changsheng was dealt with by the major sect masters and set them free. Who would have thought, what many saints saw was Qin Changsheng crushing all the major sect masters with a wave of his hand. Even the attack of the Lord of the Gilded Domain was easily defeated by him. Young master, is too strong. I was also frightened. The Lord of the Gilded Realm was a strong man in the Unity Realm. He used Qian level combat skills and was easily defeated. Let me just say it. Young master, he is a monster who keeps creating miracles. Only you can't imagine it, but he can't do it. I'm afraid. I'll do whatever the young master says from now on. I won't resist. Me too, you will be my god from now on. Many saints were shocked and frightened. Coupled with concubine Murong's encouragement from the side. I don't know how many saints worshipped Qin Changsheng more and more in their hearts, so they were willing to become little maids. Such a powerful man, and so kind to himself and others. It seems that following him is really a good choice. The sky above the imperial city of Gilded Realm. How? Don't you even have advanced Qian level combat skills? Tisk, then what you, the Lord of the Gilded Domain, did is a bit pitiful. No wonder I started coveting those skills and combat skills after seeing them in Linglong Immortal Mansion. Qin Changsheng shook his head and sneered. He didn't know that his fight had captured the hearts of many little maids. He only had one thought now, that is to get rid of Zhou Kanghai, the master of the Gilded Domain. And those holy lord sect masters and the like. By then, won't the entire Gilded Domain belong to you? Before heading to the Eastern Barren Continent, first go to those holy land sects that haven't been robbed yet, walk around and search for them. Why not enjoy some of the spoils of war and give them to the little maids to practice while you enjoy the experience yourself? Boy, so what if you have top-grade Qian level combat skills? After all, you are just a Qi Si realm. After hearing Qin Changsheng's words, Zhou Kanghai said in a cold voice. A flash of light flashed in his hand, and a jade-like spear appeared in his hand. At the same time, streams of Hunyuan Qi surged around Zhou Kanghai's body. Moving, it actually condensed into a silver-white battle armor. He sneered. The broken Dao realm barrier was propped up again. The silver-white battle armor around Zhou Kanghai flickered, and it actually carried his entire body. Disappeared out of thin air. Yes, disappeared out of thin air. Not only can't you see it, you can't even sense your breath. Shishi. Suddenly, a green spear light appeared directly between Qin Changshen's eyebrows. Qin Changshen's complexion changed slightly, and he quickly retreated while using his body skills to block with his long sword. Ding! Although it is blocked this time. But Zhou Kanghai's aura disappeared again. Shishi. The second spear light appeared silently again and struck directly at Qin Changshen's heart. Qin Changshen was extremely dangerous, and he could barely resist it. But after these two blocks, Qin Changshen had already flown back hundreds of feet. Let's not talk about whether we can successfully block it next time. Based on this evasive distance, Qin Changshen would be forced to the edge of the city wall and the Dao domain boundary without being able to evade for a few more times. There is no way to avoid it, but it is very dangerous. The Lord of the Gilded Domain inspired the legendary body. This is a stronger existence than a spirit body. I know that the physique of the Lord of the Gilded Domain is called the Hunyuan Hegemon body. Although it was activated the day after tomorrow, he has cultivated the Hunyuan Hegemon body armor of the same system as this hegemonic body. The two complement each other. The power is terrifying. That's right, there is not only the Hunyuan Hegemon body armor, but also the Xian level combat skill Void Lingdu Shen technique. All these powers combined together, there is only one word: quick. How fast is this? This is simply a teleportation attack. If it were me, I would be dead in an instant. Although the kid had dodged twice, could he still be able to dodge next time? Holy Lord Xiantian and others sneered from the side. Finally seeing that the Lord of the Gilded Domain had the upper hand, they breathed a sigh of relief. When everyone below heard their dialogue, they were also in a state of astonishment. It turned out that, above the spiritual body, there is actually a hegemonic body. Shishi, ding. Another spear light suddenly appeared, and Qin Changshen was forced back several hundred feet. Looking behind him, he saw the edge of the city wall and the Dao domain barrier. Qin Changshen didn't look panicked at all. Instead, a smile flashed across his face. How dare you show off your acquired Hunyuan hegemony to make people look embarrassed? Just like this thing, who doesn't have it? While talking, Qin Changshen's eyebrows the hilt looks like a sword and an occult symbol appears. At the same time, lines of true energy surged around Qin Changshen. But this time, all the Genkai turned out to be in the shape of a long sword. The sword-shaped Genkai turned out to be more, like 10,000 swords returning to the clan, flying all over the sky. In the end, the entire sky was densely filled with sword-shaped chi. And all the sword-shaped true energy finally condensed around Qin Changshen. Suddenly, everyone has an illusion. At this time, Qin Changshen seemed to be a shocking sword. Fierce and proud. Even if he is facing the sky above his head, he will never bend or compromise, and his sword will soar into the sky. With a slight wave, the Xiantian sword in Qin Changshen's hand cut out a sword light. Shishikichichikichi. Wherever the sword light passed, all the space was directly torn apart, and a huge space crack appeared in the sky. But what puzzled everyone was, what was the purpose of Qin Changshen's sword? Did this sword cut into the air? But soon, everyone was dumbfounded. Boom! There was a muffled sound. After getting the sword energy, a silver-white figure emerged directly from the crack in the space. Astonishingly, it was Zhou Kanghai, the Lord of the Gilded Domain, who was wearing silver-white battle armor. Puff! Innate sword heart and dominating body. How can it be? How come you even have the innate sword heart hegemonic body? After being blasted out of the space crack by a sword, Zhou Kanghai vomited a mouthful of blood. But he didn't care about that. He stared at the mysterious sword-shaped rune between Qin Changshen's eyebrows and roared with all his strength. When he saw Qin Changshen performing Xian-level combat skills, although he was shocked, he was not so frightened at all. But when he saw the sword-shaped rune between Qin Changshen's eyebrows, he felt as if he had seen a ghost. The first update, 2,500 words, please customize and order all. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 121. Innate sword heart and dominating body? What's going on, that Qin Changshen actually has a domineering physique? Isn't he born with a constitution that destroys spiritual bodies? Is this innate sword heart hegemonic body very strong? Why do I feel, the Lord is so excited? Is it strong? Of course it's very strong. Hegemonic body, domineering body, the so-called domineering body not only illustrates the domineering nature of this physique, but also illustrates the dominance of this physique in a single avenue of heaven and earth. The Lord's Hunyuan hegemony makes him invincible on the path of Hunyuan, and he can get twice the result with half the effort during cultivation. And this guy's sword heart dominance allows him to directly comprehend the sword's intention when practicing swordsmanship. Sword intent? The mysterious meaning that only the legendary natural swordsman can understand. That's right, it's that sword intention. With his innate sword heart and hegemonic body, he is a natural king of swords. Not only can he directly understand the sword's intention, but he also has the sword's strength bonus when performing sword fighting skills. Oh my god, so strong. No. It's stronger than you think. Don't forget, the Lord's Hunyuan hegemony was activated the day after tomorrow using heavenly materials and earthly treasures. When he activated it, there was no mark between his eyebrows. But this Qin Changshen's sword-centered body was born with him. When he is aroused, the ancient sword-shaped symbol between his eyebrows is his symbol. You should all know how big the gap is between the acquired spirit body and the innate spirit body. The gap between the acquired hegemonic body and the innate hegemonic body is dozens or even hundreds of times that of the innate spirit body and the acquired spirit body. Oh my god, where did this kid come from? Even a hegemonic body. The sect masters of the major sects and the melon-eating crowd below, originally didn't know much about the power of the overlord body. After some people discussed it, everyone's expressions were even more exaggerated than that of the lord of the gilded domain. An innate destroying the spirit body is enough to make them crazy with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Now this guy actually tells everyone that he is not a spirit body at all, but a hegemonic body, which everyone really can't accept. In another corner, Saint Qiantian looked at the mark between Qin Changshen's eyebrows, her delicate body trembling slightly as if struck by lightning. Having obtained the Linglong immortal demon Dao lineage, she knows better than others the tyranny of the innate sword heart and domineering body. Also familiar with, are Murong Fei and Gu Qingxiu, who have also inherited the Taoism. Gu Qingxiu was okay. She just briefly introduced the difference between the hegemonic body and the spiritual body to the other saints. Concubine Murong, on the other hand, added fuel to the fire and told all the information she knew. After listening to this, the feelings of the major saints towards Qin Changshen were, even more extraordinary. I don't even know how many people feel a sense of pride because of Qin Changshen's strength. This man who shocked everyone, is our young master. In mid-air, Qin Changshen looked at Zhou Kanghai, the master of the gilded domain, with a frightened look on his face, and smiled slightly. He also received the inheritance of Taoism, and it was the feedback after being strengthened 10 times, so he had already known what kind of existence his innate sword heart hegemony was. Otherwise, where would he have the confidence to challenge Zhou Kanghai? Why, I suddenly discovered that I also have a hegemonic body, and it is an innate sword heart hegemonic body. I was hit. It's a pity that you can't rob this thing, otherwise, you might want to rob it too. Qin Changsheng chuckled. Boy, don't be so arrogant. So what if you have an innate Kenshin body? The difference in realm is here, and it's not certain who will win and who will lose. After the shock, Zhou Kanghai also regained his composure. The next moment, the silver-white armor around him flickered, and the Hunyuan Dao was triggered, making him disappear into the void again. He thought that with this method of his, he still had a chance to catch Qin Changsheng by surprise. However, Qin Changsheng shook his head slightly when he saw this scene. It's not certain who will win and who will lose. He. With a chuckle, the Xiantian sword in Qin Changsheng's hand struck out again lightly. Chi-chi. Chi-chi. That piece of heaven and earth, like a piece of white paper, was directly torn apart by Qin Changsheng's sword energy. Boom. Zhou Kanghai's figure was blasted out again by Qin Changsheng's sword. Puff. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Zhou Kanghai disappeared again. Qin Changsheng still used his sword casually. Chi la. Bang. Without any suspense, he was blasted out again. Under Qin Changsheng's sword intent, Zhou Kanghai couldn't escape even if he used Hunyuan to fall into the void. Everyone around him was dumbfounded. Although they had just heard someone say that this innate sword heart hegemony was more powerful than the acquired Hunyuan hegemony of the Lord of the Gilded Domain. But, this is too different. No matter how Zhou Kanghai fell into the void, he would be killed by Qin Changsheng's sword? The most important thing is, Qin Changsheng is only a monk in the Qi-Si realm, but Zhou Kanghai is a strong man in the Unity realm. After crossing a big realm, you can still beat the opponent, so embarrassed? It's so powerful that it's incredible, but it's nothing more than that. Boom. Another sword light tore past, and Zhou Kanghai was bombarded again. Boy, you're fine. Although your body is very strong and your sword power is invincible, but so what, I have the Hunyuan body armor, you can't kill me at all. Haha. And as long as I seize a chance, you will die. This time, before Zhou Kanghai fell into the void, he vomited blood and laughed like crazy. When everyone heard what he said, they also instantly realized something was wrong. Although Qin Changsheng could relax every time blast the Lord of the Guilt Domain out of the void. And every time, he can vomit blood. But the silver-white armor on the Lord of the Guilt Domain can indeed resist most of the power. So that he did not suffer multiple injuries. The fact is just as Zhou Kanghai said. Qin Changsheng hits him 10 times, 100 times, it doesn't matter. And as long as he seizes the opportunity and hits Qin Changsheng in sequence, the combat power of a strong man in the Unity realm would definitely allow him to instantly kill Qin Changsheng, a monk in the Qi-Si realm. For a moment, this battle seemed to have suspense again. In the Linglong Immortal Mansion, Murong Fei and Gu Qingxiu, her eyebrows wrinkled slightly, worried about Qin Changsheng. Some other saints also unconsciously prayed silently that nothing would happen to Qin Changsheng. They gradually got used to following this domineering young master. However, just when everyone was worried, Qin Changsheng himself still looked as normal and smiled as usual. Can't kill you. I think you are, a little too confident. After saying that, Qin Changsheng had a thought in his mind, and the bloodline of the holy beast Qinglong was inspired. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 122. Ouch. Suddenly, everyone seemed to hear the dragon's roar that echoed across the heaven and earth. I saw a phantom of the holy beast Qinglong that was hundreds of feet long, appearing around Qin Changsheng. With the appearance of the holy beast Qinglong, the whole world also started to thunder and lightning. The bloodline of the holy beast Qinglong. You actually still have the blood of the holy beast Qinglong, no? This is impossible. The Lord of the Gilded Realm opened his eyes angrily, and couldn't believe his eyes again. Everyone below was trembling under the power of the dragon. At this time, they had only one thought in their hearts. This monster, how many trump cards does he have? Moreover, why is this monster so free and omnipotent? Doesn't it mean that he has the blood of the holy Kylin? Why did he suddenly become the blood of the holy beast Qinglong again? Although they are both the five great saints. Beast, but the intimidation and combat power of the holy beast Qinglong are superior to the holy beast Kylin. Saint Qiantian and the other saints in Linglong Immortal Mansion have very different ideas at this time, but the same thing is, everyone also it was also shocking. They really couldn't imagine that Qin Changsheng, who was 19 years old, could actually be so powerful. In mid-air, the huge green dragon phantom formed a set of azure armor around Qin Changsheng. Dragon head helmet, dragon scale armor. At this time, Qin Changsheng stood there as if he were a world-destroying war god, exuding dragon power in every move he made. Even the Lord of the Gilded Realm in the Unity Realm had no intention of fighting again when facing Qin Changsheng at this time. The silver-white Hunyuan Hegemon body armor flashed on his body, and the Lord of the Gilded Realm escaped into the void, and even wanted to run away. However, how could Qin Changsheng allow him to run away? Under the shroud of sword intent, Qin Changsheng's Xiantian sword slashed out with another sword intent. Qi La. A space crack dozens of feet long appeared, and Zhou Kanghai, who was frightened, was blasted out of the void again. Puff puff. This time, Zhou Kanghai vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood, and the color of the Hunyuan Hegemon body armor around him was obviously much darker. Why, can't I kill you? Qin Changsheng asked with a chuckle. Zhou Kanghai looked horrified and panicked. He could feel that the energy of his Hunyuan Hegemony armor was dissipating, and it could not withstand a few hits from this guy. Everyone below was also one by one. I can't believe my eyes. Is this guy going to kill the Lord of the Gilded Realm? Qi Si Realm, Leapfrog Challenge, killing the Union Realm. It's obvious, Qin Changsheng is planning to do this. In his hands Xiantian sword, the sword energy is suffocating, and it is even more powerful than before. I am ready to deal with this Zhou Kanghai. Qin Changsheng, you can't kill me. I am a disciple of Yuntian Holy Land in the Eastern Wilderness Continent, and I was ordered to take charge of the Gilded Domain. Do you know what kind of existence Yuntian Holy Land is? Although these holy places in the Gilded Realm bear the name of Holy Land sects, in my eyes, they are just trivial matters. In the Eastern Wilderness Continent, such a small sect would not dare to call it a holy land even if it gave them 100 courages. Because in the Eastern Barren Continent, the lowest standard for establishing a sect is the Unity Realm. And our Holy Lord of Yuntian Holy Land, is a king-level powerhouse in Yunhai Realm. If you dare to kill me, you are disobeying the orders of our Yuntian Holy Land. And if you let me go, I can recommend you to join Yuntian Holy Land. The various genius treasures, skills and combat skills there are beyond your imagination, I can cultivate from an outer disciple to the unity state, you can imagine. Zhou Kanghai suddenly said a lot. Qin Changsheng suppressed the sword that he was about to use for the time being. He is still quite interested in the Eastern Barren Continent. After all, his woman Miruoxi should be there now. The people below, especially the sect masters, looked very embarrassed after hearing this information. It turns out that people like themselves are just a joke in the eyes of the Lord of the Gilded Domain. Although they also know that there are many powerful people in the Wilderness Continent, but they never expected that the gap between the two would be so big. An outer disciple can reach the unity state and be assigned here to take charge of the Gilded Domain. The inner disciple, or how strong will the elders and the like be? And the Holy Lord of Yuntian Holy Land. That is the legendary king level, the heaven-defying power that reaches the sky and the earth, and I am the king. I saw this gilded. The Lord of the Domain was also scared. He moved all his sects out, and even said that he would recommend Qin Changsheng to join. This was a combination of soft and hard tactics. But I have to say, the Lord of the Gilded Domain release, the conditions are really tempting. No matter who it is, they are probably very interested in joining a sect's holy land where kings exist. However, Yuntian Holy Land? There should be a saint in here too. Qin Changsheng whispered after listening to Zhou Kanghai's words. Everyone was speechless for a while. We know that you have extreme love for the saint. But you don't have to ask the saint first. And Saint Qiantian and many saints in the Linglong Immortal Mansion rolled their eyes when they heard Qin Changsheng's words. My son is good everywhere else. He just loves the saint so much. Yes, yes, of course. Our Holy Lady Yuntian is definitely a first-class fairy beauty, and she is extremely talented and has a very high level of cultivation. If you are introduced by me, you will definitely have a chance to meet her. Zhou Kanghai was speechless as Qin Changsheng asked the saint the first time he opened his mouth. But people have to bow their heads under the eaves, what can they do? But in his heart, he couldn't help but utter contempt. Do you even want to covet our Yunzheng saint? It's hard to say whether I recommend you to join Yuntian Holy Land or not. Even if I really recommend you to go in, with your status, you don't know that you will see the saint in the year of the monkey. Of course, he could only think about these things in his mind and didn't dare to express them at all. What he has to do now is to make Qin Changsheng believe it. I can recommend him to join Yuntian Holy Land, a powerful force with the king level of Yunhai realm. However, Qin Changsheng's next sentence. It just made everyone completely messy. It would be nice to have a saint. When I go to the eastern wilderness continent, I will grab it for fun. Qin Changsheng said lightly. Zhou Kanghai and everyone below were a little suspicious of their own ears. This guy didn't want to join Yuntian Holy Land at all. He asked if there was a saint, he just wanted to rob her. So crazy, should you be so arrogant, should you be so going against the will of heaven? Fantasy, I robbed millions of saints. Author, The Dream of a Million Saints. Chapter 123. Everyone was speechless and couldn't believe it when they heard that Qin Changsheng wanted to rob even the saint of Yuntian Holy Land. After all, the Lord of the Gilded Realm also said, Yuntian Holy Land is an extremely powerful sect holy land in the Eastern Barren Continent, and there are king-level experts from the Yunhai realm sitting there. That is an existence that is out of reach in legend. Moreover, what the Lord of the Gilded Domain meant by saying this was actually a warning and coercion to Qin Changsheng. He was sent by Yuntian Holy Land to control the Gilded Domain. If you dare to kill him, you will be an enemy of Yuntian Holy Land and an enemy of the king-level powerhouse of Yunhai realm. But after Qin Changsheng said that, he answered with practical actions. He went straight to slash out with his sword. Obviously, he must kill the Lord of the Gilded Realm today. I don't care about the Yuntian Holy Land, the Eastern Wilderness Continent, the king-level powerhouses in the Yunhai realm. In the hands of Qin Changsheng, there is nothing more than a trophy warehouse with a Saintess experience pack. Even if I can't beat him now, but I have a system in place, I've snatched away all the saints I can, and I'm eating experience packs one by one, but I still can't reach the Yunhai realm. Shishi. A crack in space rolled towards the head of the Gilded Realm. Boom. The Lord of the Gilded Realm wanted to dodge the void, but he couldn't dodge at all, and was violently bombarded again. The Hunyuan hegemonic armor on his body has turned from silvery white to gray. Obviously, it can't withstand 2 blows at all. You still dare to kill me, aren't you afraid of my Yuntian Holy Land's revenge? The Lord of the Gilded Domain asked with a horrified look on his face. He. Qin Changsheng didn't bother to talk nonsense with him, so he slashed him with another sword. You forced me to do this. With a low roar, Zhou Kanghai took out a token that looked like a jade pendant. In Yuntian Holy Land, Zhou Kanghai, the master of the Gilded Realm, his life is at stake, borrow the power of the Elder's strike. After saying this, Zhou Kanghai suddenly crushed the jade pendant into pieces. Buzz. The next moment, the spiritual energy of the entire world began to crackle and tremble. A golden giant axe, 1,000 feet in size, suddenly condensed and formed in mid-air. Puff puff. As soon as this giant axe appeared, all the major sect masters and saints below couldn't help vomiting blood. Many people watching the battle even fainted. This pressure is really too strong. The master who performed this attack was definitely more powerful than Zhou Kanghai, and the level of this combat skill was obviously very high. Boy, this is the 3rd grade Xian level combat skill used by a strong man from the 5th level of the Unity Realm, the mountain building Dao Axe. In my life, I only have one chance to borrow it. I didn't expect that you would force me out and you could die in peace. Haha. At this time, Zhou Kanghai was bleeding from all his orifices, his hair was disheveled, and he was in an extremely miserable state. Obviously, in order to borrow the power of this blow, he was also severely hit, but, he laughed wildly. Now that it's displayed, this kid will die. 5th level of Unity Realm, 3rd level Xian level combat skills. If he were here in person, maybe I really couldn't bear it. But if I borrow your body to perform it, haha, that would be ridiculous. As for the 3rd grade Xian level combat skills, it seems like no one knows them. Qin Changsheng sneered. The true energy around him seemed to be burning, blooming with colorful brilliance. At the same time, the azure dragon scale armor around Qin Changsheng actually condensed flesh and blood bit by bit. Ouch! Suddenly, a dragon roar like a bell came, and countless people below vomited blood. However, they can't control this at all now, because at this time, Qin Changsheng has actually turned into a holy beast, a blue dragon. A green dragon that is not a phantom, but a real existence, with flesh and blood, and is more than 1,000 feet long. 3rd level Xian level combat skill Soul of the Holy Dragon. Crackling. 9-day thunder struck down from the sky. The green dragon transformed by Qin Changsheng seemed to be bathed in lightning and thunder, shaking its huge dragon head and body wantonly. Then, the 1,000-foot-long green dragon, carrying the 9 heavens thunder, struck hard in mid-air, on top of the golden Dao opening Dao axe. Click, click. When the two collided, everyone really saw what it means to be shattered. A huge space crack vortex appeared. Everyone below felt like their souls were separated from their bodies. This is the power from the space vortex. The 3rd grade Xian level combat skill Holy Dragon Soul. How could you even have the 3rd grade Xian level combat skill? This is a combat skill that is never passed down to others in the Holy Beast family. Who are you? The moment Zhou Kanghai saw Qin Changsheng transforming into a giant dragon, he completely collapsed. He shouted at the giant dragon in mid-air. It's a pity. No one can answer his doubts, and he also no time to wait. Boom. Under the bombardment of the huge dragon, the Kaishan Dao transformation axe in mid-air turned directly into a piece of golden powder. Then, the huge holy beast Qinglong showed no intention of stopping. With one strike, the divine dragon swung its tail, creating an exploding space vortex that enveloped Zhou Kanghai. Just for a moment, Zhou Kanghai's whole body was torn into countless pieces by the space vortex. Then, it was directly swallowed up by the space vortex. Everyone below was on the verge of collapse. Seeing this scene, they became even more chaotic. The majestic lord of the Gilded Realm. In their eyes, the existence that was once the supreme, actually died like this. The most terrifying thing is, this before he died, he borrowed the power of a strong man from the 5th level of the Unity Realm to perform a 3rd grade Xian level combat skill. But even so, it couldn't stop the ruthless Qin Changsheng from killing. And listening to Zhou Kanghai's question before he died, The combat skills used by Qin Changshen were actually 3rd grade Xian level combat skills. And it's a secret skill of the Holy Beast family that is not passed down to others. This monster, once again refreshed everyone's knowledge and upper limit. But the matter is still not over yet. After the tragic death of Zhou Kanghai, the leader of the Gilded Domain, the Qianzhong Qinglong in mid-air looked at the sect masters and holy masters with a pair of dragon eyes with cold murderous intent.